In fall 2017, a woman ran out of gas on a highway in Philadelphia around midnight. A homeless man sleeping under a nearby overpass suddenly came out of nowhere to her rescue and spent his last $20 that he had earned from panhandling to buy her gas. The woman was overwhelmed with appreciation and could not believe this man's kindness. They got to talking, and he said he was a former Marine who had fallen on hard times, gotten addicted to drugs, and because of that, he was now living under this highway overpass. The woman left, but wanted to repay this man for his generosity, so she went onto the popular crowdfunding website GoFundMe and created a new campaign just for him. In the description, she went on and on about this homeless vet's heroicness and what he did for her that night, and urged people to donate money to help him get back on his feet. Not only did it reach its initial goal of $10,000, but in just a few weeks it had skyrocketed to $400,000. But no good deed goes unpunished. And it wasn't long before the woman and the homeless vet were in handcuffs, and this feel-good tale would turn out to be nothing more than that, a tale. On November 10th, 2017, a new campaign popped up onto GoFundMe, created by a woman named Kate McClure and her boyfriend Mark D'Amico. It was titled Paying It Forward, and they were trying to raise money to help a homeless vet named Johnny Bobbitt. The money would get him set up in an apartment, help pay some living expenses, and maybe a reliable car. It was the least they could do after he selflessly spent his last $20 to buy McClure gas when her car broke down. This heartwarming story inspired thousands of people to give to the cause, and the campaign raised $400,000. In fact, it was such a popular story that McClure was interviewed on Good Morning America, appeared on the Ellen DeGeneres Show, and the story spread around the country through various news outlets. And if that wasn't great enough, the couple were also negotiating a book deal. And why not? A good Samaritan, even while down on his luck, willing to help another, was the perfect uplifting story. But soon, new headlines started to surface. Headlines that weren't so uplifting. Kate McClure and her boyfriend Mark D'Amico, who set up the GoFundMe account to raise money for Johnny Bobbitt, were allegedly withholding the money from him. Not only that, they were treating the donations like their own personal piggy bank to finance a lifestyle they couldn't otherwise afford. Designer handbags, trips to Las Vegas and Disney World, a helicopter tour of the Grand Canyon, front row seats to a Broadway show, and a $24,000 BMW. And they withdrew over $85,000 in or around casinos in Atlantic City, Philadelphia, and Las Vegas. Then, 8 months after the GoFundMe campaign had raised an astonishing $400,000 for this poor vet, the Philadelphia Inquirer published a story about Bobbitt being homeless again. But how could that happen? Hundreds of thousands of dollars were raised just for him. Surely he shouldn't be homeless, right? Well, just days after that story was published, McClure and D'Amico would appear on TV to explain their side of the story. And the story they would go on to tell was that initially they gave Bobbitt $25,000, but after he blew through all the money in just 13 days, they were unwilling to give him any more money, up front at least, in fear of him spending it all on drugs. A day after that interview, Bobbitt filed a civil complaint and sued the couple over the money. And just days after that civil complaint, a superior judge ordered a freeze on the funds raised by the campaign. At this point, things were getting messy, and about to get messier, because a criminal investigation was launched into the GoFundMe campaign involving all three people. In September 2018, authorities raided the home of McClure and D'Amico and seized bank records and over 60,000 text messages. And investigators must have found something, because a month later, Kate McClure, Mark D'Amico, and Johnny Bobbitt were each charged with conspiracy and theft by deception. The following is what prosecutors learned during the investigation. Federal authorities analyzed the 60,000 text messages seized from Kate McClure and boyfriend Mark D'Amico and discovered that while McClure claimed she first met Bobbitt the night her car broke down, she and her boyfriend had actually met him at least 1 month prior. In one text exchange between McClure and D'Amico, McClure wrote, "I don't know why, but that homeless guy by Sugar House just keeps popping into my head today." In which D'Amico replied, "Dude, I just thought of him." Sugar House was the name of the Philadelphia casino that D'Amico and McClure often went to, and near where Bobbitt was living under that overpass. The couple would often come into contact with Bobbitt either on their way or leaving the casino, and sometimes spotted him money. The couple's text conversation then turned to them brainstorming ways they could help the homeless vet. Perhaps food, clothes, a job, a house. Federal authorities then came across another notable text message sent by McClure to her best friend just hours after the GoFundMe campaign launched, saying, "The gas part is completely made up, but the guy isn't. I had to make something up so people will feel bad." In the end, it was determined that McClure never ran out of gas that night. Her car never broke down, and Johnny Bobbitt certainly didn't spend his last $20 buying her gas. All three participants conspired to fabricate and promote this lie that would compel donors to contribute to this fund and basically just earn them money. In 2019, Mark D'Amico, Kate McClure, and Johnny Bobbitt pleaded guilty to their charges. Mark D'Amico was sentenced to 5 years in New Jersey State Prison, which will run concurrent with his federal prison sentence of 27 months. Kate McClure received a far less federal prison sentence than her boyfriend, just 12 months and 1 day, because she agreed to testify against him in court. However, in early 2023, the state of New Jersey handed down an additional 3-year prison sentence to run concurrent with her federal prison time. Once she gets out, she'll have 3 years of supervised release and must pay restitution for her portion of the $400,000 owed to GoFundMe. As for Johnny Bobbitt, he was put into a recovery court program for his drug addiction, sentenced to 36 months probation, and ordered to pay $25,000 in restitution for his role in the hoax. But no jail time. That's it for today's episode. If you find these scam videos interesting or helpful to you, be sure to subscribe and turn on all notifications so you can be alerted every time I post a new scam. Remember, hearing about it just may save you from falling for it. So until next time, keep your eyes open for scams.